Hello, it's Kay from the K Touch. Today I am going to have my first book review under this new channel. I read fictional books from time to time and I provide reviews on them, but this is going to take a slightly different direction today, and you'll see how in a moment. First, I want to talk about my reading for this year. I think I haven't done too badly. This is the middle of February, and I have finished my first book. I know for some other people, they're probably on their sixth, seventh, 10th, whatever. But for me, I'm a bit of a snail when it comes to reading. I take my time. I get there eventually, even if it's after 365 days. It is what it is. But today I'm going to be providing a book review on Saturday Night Live. No. Saturday Night at the Trailer Park by Kay Wagner. It is a book that was released, I think, in 2024. So the entire series was released in 2024, and I have completed the first book of the four which make up the series, and this is going to be my honest review about it. Before I get into it proper, this is a disclaimer. It is only one person's review. I shouldn't be saying this, but I don't want anyone to come after me with pitchforks. This is one person review. I'm sure there are numerous reviews out there, and this is just me probably helping the next person who's looking for a book to read for the rest of February or in March or whenever. I hope this review would provide some justice on the book itself. And as for the author, Kay Wagner, she writes fast-paced, emotionally charged stories that will both break your heart and fill your soul with hope. She loves strong female characters, we'll come to that much later, who take control of their own destinies. Kay Wagner's characters face challenges that showcase the multifaceted nature of the human spirit, providing readers with profound insights into the enduring qualities of resilience and redemption, which are at the core of the human experience. I like that very much. When not reading or writing, she slips away for her guilty pleasure of riding quarter horses in the mountains of Wyoming. I hope I got that. Wyoming. I think it's Wyoming. I think so. I'm not a fan of riding horses. I've never ridden one. They scare me, but that's Kay Wagner for you. So let's look at the book's synopsis. I'll read. Frankie Girl's life at the trailer park has never been easy. On Maryland's eastern shore, in a world of whispered secrets and broken promises, she quickly learns that trust is a rare commodity. With a family on the brink of collapse and betrayal lurking around every corner, the only steady presence in her life is the school bus driver, the one adult she can count on. But Frankie refuses to be another statistic, another forgotten girl from the trailer park. With a sharp mind and an even sharper will, she navigates the harsh realities of her upbringing, determined to carve out a future beyond the limits of her world. Yet, as she struggles to hold her family together, she realizes that some battles are impossible to win alone. Just when she begins to find a way forward, an old friend steps back into her life, offering her something she's never truly known: love and redemption. For the first time, Frankie glimpses a future beyond the suffocating walls of her past, but hope is a dangerous thing, and the past is never far behind. When a familiar face resurfaces, threatening to unravel everything she's fought for, Frankie is forced to confront the ghosts she thought she'd escaped. Through moments of heartache and hope, romance and resilience, Saturday Night at the Trailer Park takes readers on a powerful emotional journey. Frankie's story is one of survival against all odds, of fighting for love even when the world says you don't deserve it, and of proving that where you come from doesn't have to define where you're going. Poignant, gripping, and deeply moving, this novel will stay with readers long after they turn the final page. That's a very lovely synopsis. So that's a summary of Saturday Night at the Trailer Park. So like I said before, this is the first book in the Frankie Girl series. It's book 1 of 4, and on Amazon's on Prime Reading, it is classified as coming of age fiction, classified under the genre as well, or it's classified also under the genre of women's religious fiction and women's Christian fiction. So let's get into the review. So on Amazon, the usual thing is to look at ratings on Amazon, for me at least, and see if it in any way correlates with what my impressions are of the book. On Amazon, customer reviews, we've got about 205, and on an average, it has 4.2 out of 5 stars. I think that's really good for a book. You can see that 3% and 4% of the readers gave it 1 and 2 star. I'm not sure about that, but everyone is different in terms of how they are vibing with the fictional piece. I think that's a bit far from what I'd like to give it in terms of a review, but more to that later on. But this is in general what people think about the book. So here is a summary of my ratings for the book. I'm going to break everything step by step, but overall I give it a 4 out of 5. I'll just get that out of the way. I don't want to wait till the end. This is just what I'm scoring the book, and then I'll explain why for everything. But starting with the title and the book cover, I think the title completely and sufficiently represents what the book is about. It's a very snappy title, quite catchy, and as it says, everything, literally, not everything, but a great percentage of the meat of the story happens in the trailer park. And this is another reason why I think the book cover itself is fantastic. I mean, apart from how the appeal of the image itself, it does summarize what goes on in the book. So we're not having a book that's about one thing, but an image or a book cover that's about another thing. And we're not having a book that's just a person's face. I don't have a problem with books that are focused on the image of the protagonist or whatever, but I love this book and how it, in a way, for a moment, just focuses on the world itself rather than that. I'm talking about the image now, focuses on the world itself rather than the character. I think that's really nice. So I love it, and honestly, I give the title and the book cover, I give it 4 stars. 4 stars because to give it a 5 would be to say it's perfect, and we know nothing is perfect. Hey, don't come after me with a pitchfork. I just believe that 5 stars out of 5, I don't think anything can ever score there. Hate me if you want. But yeah, really, really good title, really good book cover as well. For the plot, I give it 4 stars as well. I didn't know what to expect when picking up the book, and I'll come to the character later on and my thoughts concerning that. But yeah, the plot was really good, quite solid, quite well delivered as well, and I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed how it also set up, because I've only read the first book. Now my review is not based off the remaining 3. I might get to them at some point, but I like how this plot sets the tone and prepares the ground, lays the foundation for the other books that will follow. So it's really, really well crafted and well delivered. So I give it 4 out of 5. And so the plot leads me to the structure. Now there are 2 things I'll say about the structure, which are not necessarily bad, but not my preference. For the first one anyway, which is that it was written in 3rd person. For those who have heard some of my previous reviews, I am a sucker for books written from first person perspective. It's just, I feel those books have just a huge potential to immerse the reader in them properly, and I love that idea. I know it's not the easiest to write, but hey, that's my opinion. But this book was written well in 3rd person, and you can obviously see the perspective from both the main character and from side characters as well. So that's one thing. Then I have heard it described in many places, the book being described as a fast-paced read. I would say it's less fast paced and more balanced, if that makes any sense. So it's a steady read. It's not boring, it's not slow, by far from it. But I won't describe it as fast. At least not the entire book itself. There are areas where it is a fast paced read, where you just find yourself skipping. No, not skipping, but really quickly going from page to page. But other parts, it just it reads normally, and it's a good pace. I don't know also about. I mean, this is probably the first time that I've read a book where the climax, I'll say the really shocking part of the book, unexpected aspects, twists of the book, come kind of midpoint in the book. I'm used to, maybe it's just me, and this is one man's opinion. I'm used to things surprisingly happening, from I'd say 70% after reading 70% of the book, from that mark down to the end. But this hits it at kind of midpoint. That's where you get the factor. Whoa, what's going on? And there are still a few surprises towards the end of the book, but that's the idea I got. Please let me know if it's the same kind of vibe you got whilst reading the book as well. So that's what I can say about the structure. It's not necessarily a bad thing. This is obviously every writer has their own approach to writing a book, and this is obviously Kay's, and I think it was well delivered, whether in third person or whatever. So I still give it a 4 stars. Now it's on to my favorite part of the book review. Remember at the start, I hope I said that this book review for this channel is going to take a slightly different direction, and the main addition is I want to have the fun or enjoy it, and I hope I'm providing value for you readers as well, and those of you, the audiences. I want to try and put down an image that I feel is representative of the main character. So Kay Wagner, tell me if this in any way represents the main character. There are, in terms of the characters, the main character is called Francine, short form Frankie. Most people refer to her as Frankie Girl. And other characters include Butch, Billy, Harry, Larry, Debbie, and these are all side characters. I enjoy how Frankie was written, but I'll come to that much later. Then also refer to or talk a bit more about a side character. But what I'm going to be drawing now, first of all, I'll start with a sketch of what I feel Francine, or how I feel Francine looks. So let's see how this turns out. Okay, so that is me giving. That is me attempting to make the character the protagonist. I don't think this is going really well, but like I know I already know when it comes to art, it looks a bit funny initially. But my main concern right now is whether or not she is of the appropriate age, because I'm supposed to be drawing someone who is kind of mid to late teens, and this looks like what I have right now looks like a proper woman. But I'm going to continue with this with the I've done the sketch now, so I'm going to, the way I usually do it, after I make the sketch, then I put the outline, then I put colors, and then I put shades. So sketch done, let's put the outline, and then we'll come back to whether or not this looks like anything that bears a slight resemblance to the main character. Okay, so I have managed to draw someone who, to be quite honest, doesn't really um, completely represent who I wanted it to be. But hey ho, I've started this process. I am going to finish it. I want to finish this. So, what is it about Frankie? A few things, a few details about Frankie before I start putting in the colors is Frankie has chestnut hair. So two distinct factors, two distinct features we can get from Frankie, or three distinct features, so one of which I can't seem to represent at the moment, maybe because I'm trying to do this while reviewing, but this is how it has to be. Please give your reviews on my image just as I'm giving a review on the book. So Frankie is supposed to have green eyes, and she's supposed to have chestnut hair. So I am going to start paying a bit more attention to the features of color on her body. So let's. I think this is going to be a disaster, honestly. But I am not one to back down from a project, not like that. So I am going to see this through. Right, so this is a this is what I consider a basic sketch of who Frankie is. I'll come and tidy up later on, because usually what I do with my art is I make the first sketch, then I put an outline, then I put colors, then I try to put some tone, and I'll do that later on. But let's just my opinion as well on Frankie. I love the way Kay writes Frankie. I think Kay did a very good job in representing a strong female character who is very determined, yet very independent. But you can see also that she has the common sense to ask for help when it is needed. And I think that's really key to a strong character, whether male or female, the ability to seek help when it is required. I don't know why I thought for a moment when I first read the synopsis, and I've also read about the book, that I when the character was described as a strong female character, I thought I was going to be confronted with someone who was superhuman, who could do the unimaginable with just sheer will. But seeing how emotionally and mentally strong Frankie Girl is, just in my opinion, resulted in more respect for the writer Kay. I think Kay did a very good job in representing her. This isn't the first book that I've read with that has a strong female protagonist, but I don't know why I was expecting something a bit more out of this world and unrealistic, but that's not the case. Yeah, she's not a girl boss. She knows what she wants, and knows how to get there, but has really strong will. You can relate to her struggles growing up, making bad decisions, and living with the consequences. But I'll say, before I complete my character of Frankie, that there was also a side character, Tess, and she was my favorite side character in the whole lot. I think her character provides a lot of support to the main protagonist, and I like as well the way she was written. So I'm going to come back and make a final comment about the entertainment value of the book and how I felt generally just reading the book. But permit me to finish Frankie Girl, so that at least I know, correctly or incorrectly, that I finished this artwork. There you have it. This is my representation of Frankie Girl. I don't know what you think, for those of you who've read the book, and I'm hoping Kay Wagner sees this and tells me what exactly she thinks about my drawing. But that aside, I think I've done well. She just looks a bit older than Frankie in the actual book. I blame it on the fact that I tried to do all of this within 2 hours. So let's just call this Frankie in the subsequent books, Frankie in Paris and all of that. So this is not Frankie Girl in Saturday nights at the trailer park. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Did I make a good representation of Frankie Girl or not? I can't wait to hear your comments. And so finally, what's my overall opinion about the book? Well, entertainment wise, I think it was good. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed the story, and the lessons I got from the story. It was just really, really good. I really like how delicately the themes of abuse, redemption, forgiveness, all of that in there, quite well written, quite well represented. In my normal fashion, I would like to read a part of the book. There are a few gems here and there, but this is one part I want to read out, just to give an idea of what anyone who's not read the book should be looking forward to. I am going to read it as best as I can. I don't particularly have a reading voice, but better to try it than not to try it at all. So adrenaline shot through the sheriff as he saw Tesh run towards his SUV. She was screaming, "Go to the trailer park! Go to the trailer park! There's a terrible ruckus going on. I heard a gunshot. Go!" The sheriff hit the gas pedal and laid rubber on the one country road. His heart was pounding so hard he thought his head would blow up. He couldn't think. His police academy training kicked into high gear and he gunned it to the trailer park, not knowing what he might encounter. Images of Frankie bleeding to death in Buck's bar flashed through his mind as he screeched to a halt at the edge of the parking lot. He noticed only one truck in the parking lot as he sprinted across the parking lot to the open door of the bar. He was yelling for Frankie as he entered, expecting the worst. He stopped in shock at what he saw. Tables and chairs were scattered everywhere, and Harry was slumped on the floor, beaten to a pulp. The sheriff ran over and pulled on Harry's shoulder, trying to straighten him out onto the floor. He was still breathing, but he'd been beaten up badly, and there was blood coming out of his nose and glistening all over his face. The sheriff checked Harry's pulse and then crossed the gravel parking lot to the big trailer where he heard loud wailing noises. He saw the trailer door was wide open, and in 2 quick steps he was up on the porch and into the trailer's living room. Moans were coming from the back of the trailer down the hallway where he saw Frankie leaning over Debbie. The room was a mess, with chairs tipped over and clothes strewn across the floor. "Frankie," he called out with fear in his voice, "is everything okay? Do you need an ambulance?" Frankie looked up at him with an urgent plea for help. "Yes, please. Help me with Debbie. I shot her in the foot." So, overall, I'm just going to say 4 stars for Saturday Night at the Trailer Park by Way Wagner. Please get a copy. Don't forget to give me your comments, not just on what you felt about the book, but also my representation of Frankie Girl. I can't wait to actually have a conversation with the author. Maybe Kay will forgive my representation of Frankie and have a one-to-one with me. Until then, it's Kay from the K Touch. Have a wonderful rest of your day.